There are only 6 participants here right now. See, I have a request to the participants. Please mute your audios. Please mute your audio. Then switch on the video. You may switch on the video so that I can see your faces. Well, if you can switch on your videos, we can see each other and addressing directly, even though online will be better. That's why. Well, who is this? Renati. Renati, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear, but some net issue is there. If I on the video,
Okay. Okay.
I think issue. That's why I'm not.
Okay, okay. And
Okay.
the audio also is breaking.
It's okay. I will on the video, sir. I'll try to on it.
Okay, okay, okay. All right.
Sir.
Okay. Okay. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Okay. There are
Sir. Good afternoon.
good afternoon. Okay. There are only 7 participants here. Still, we can't wait for long because the time allotted for us is 1 hour. Okay. So we have to start the session. Okay. Well, my name is Valsarajan, and I am living in Panur, Kannur districts. You might have heard of Kannur district, yes? Ms. Sushila, where are you from?
I am from Toda, Palakkad district.
Palakkad district.
Near Cherpulasheri.
Near Cherpulasheri. I have some friends there in Palakkad.
Palakkad, okay.
Right. Okay. I'm not asking the whereabouts of all the participants because we have only limited time. See, I am a retired teacher, English teacher from Panur High Secondary School, and before that, I've been working as a teacher trainer also in the BRCs in Kannur district, and also participated in the textbook development workshops at the UP level. See, I'm not claiming anything, but I am just disclosing my identity. Okay, that's all. So you are all 6th standard English teachers, I think, right? 6th standard English teachers, all of you are, and we are supposed to discuss 6th standard textbook. The first part of the 6th standard textbook the first 2 units of the 6th standard textbook. Okay. See, before we start the session, we all know that we are living in a very tough time, and the COVID-19 pandemic have crippled our life. Okay, and how long we have to wait for going back to normal, we don't know. We are almost adjusting ourselves with the new normal. It is part of the new normal that we are meeting online like this. Okay, right? And remember, see, I am not going to teach you anything. This is a what we are a mode of discussion. Okay, let us have a discussion on the textbook of Standard 6. Okay, it's a very informal session. You can ask your doubts and your needs and all. Okay, it is in such a way that the session will go. Okay, first of all, let us see on what basic principles the textbooks at the primary level are developed. That is to write the textbooks, and not only textbook, to develop the curriculum. We have based on some scientific principles. It is based on some scientific theories and principles that we have developed the curriculum at the UP level, and also from that curriculum we have developed the textbooks of all the subjects for that matter. Okay, the basic principles, the first basic principle or basic theory on which the curriculum of the school curriculum is developed is constructivism. You might have heard of that, but even though you have to rethink about it, you have to recall that all these things and reiterate and emphasize this principle in your teaching learning process. Constructivism. Well, what do you mean by constructivism? Do you have any idea? Any idea? Can anyone tell your idea about constructivism? Can anyone say?
Sorry, sir, we learned, but I forgot the theory.
That's it. You might have learned that during the teacher training courses and all. Yes, right. Okay. See, it is very. I'm not going to discuss in detail. Only the basic principles we will discuss here. Otherwise, we won't be able to do the activities in proper way in the classes. Constructivism, the basic principle of constructivism is that a learner is able to construct his own knowledge. A learner, who in whichever class he studies, a learner comes to the class not as an empty pot, not without anything. He has a previous experience, he has previous knowledge, and he has the ability to build upon new knowledge. He has the ability to construct his own knowledge of anything. Maybe knowledge of mathematics, knowledge of social science, and for that matter, knowledge of language as well. Okay, children are endowed with, that means gifted with, the ability to build their own knowledge. Okay, but to build this knowledge, we should provide certain environments. Okay, we are providing environment as learning activities, textbook materials, input materials. Okay, and a series of processes. All these are providing to the learner for the learner to construct his own knowledge. This is the basic principle on which these textbooks are developed. And the textbooks and associated inputs. Textbooks are not the only inputs that we give to the learner. There are many associated inputs. For example, the talk that the teacher makes in the classroom is an input. That also is an input. And all other materials, audio, visual, videos, visuals, all are input materials that we provide to the learners. And from these environments, the learner will be able to make his own construct. Then only that construct will remain in the learner for a long time, okay, forever. Okay, that is a biological process. That's a biological process. We should remember. So that there is a lot of changes in classroom practices. Okay, a lot of changes are there in classroom processes. Classroom practices, that means all the activities are, this is activity oriented. A learner is expected to learn anything through a series of activities. That you know, all the teachers, present day teachers know that the classrooms are teaching learning process are activity oriented. All the teachers know. But that is not enough. These activities are not some set of activities to be imposed on the learners. That is the most important. If you ask the learner, okay, you write this thing. Okay, you write this thing and write in the paper and present it. That also is an activity. But that is not an activity in the constructivist methodology. So learner should feel a need for that. Learner should be aware why I should do this activity. So that is the most important thing. So need-based process and activity. That is the most important thing. So create a need. We should create needs to the learners to follow certain processes or activities. The learner should be interested in these activities. So it is learner-centered, so that activities are learner-centered, not teacher-centered, learner-centered, and process-oriented, because learning is seen as a series of processes. A series of processes. Okay, it is not the ultimate result that matters, but it is a process to reach that result which is most significant. So in the classroom, when you deal with the learners, you should focus on the process, and that process should have a logical development as well. Okay, so these are a few basic principles about constructivism. That is, we assume that the learners are able to create their own constructs, their own knowledge, one thing. Okay, and for the construction of knowledge, our role is to provide proper environment. We provide these environments through a series of activities, through a series of processes, through a series of materials, and through a series of inputs. That is what you call, that is why you call, you know that, that is why I'm saying like this. That is why you call, you're not teaching, but you are facilitating. Facilitating. Okay, facilitating not in a mechanical process, facilitating in a very intimate and very friendly atmosphere, in a friendly atmosphere. Okay, there should be democracy in the classroom. Okay, and there should be learner freedom in the classroom. All these should be ensured. Okay, and that is why in the modern educational scenario, a teacher is called a mentor. I hope you know that, a mentor. Yes, I hope you know that term, mentor. So, teacher is not just a teacher, but he is considered as mentor. That means a very closely related person, a closely related human being who provides what all the needful things to the learner, which is not only just a few information or content. You focus on even the emotional development of the learners. So it is in such a way that a teacher-learner relation, a rapport should be developed in the present-day classroom. So these are all basic principles of constructivism. See, I'm not going further on it. So the basic thing that you should remember, the present day learning is learner centered, okay, process oriented, activity oriented. These are the three things you should remember: learner centered, process oriented, activity oriented. Okay, so these are a very few basic principles I have discussed, and now we shall come to language learning. When we speak specifically about language learning, remember in the UP classes, the teaching learning process is in the acquisition paradigm, acquisition methodology. Acquisition, it is not a methodology, it's a paradigm. Okay, acquisition. Acquisition, it is not learning or teaching that happens in
Camera video
the language class, but it is acquisition. That means acquisition is a natural process. Why acquisition? Because scientifically it is proved that all the child is born naturally with a language learning ability. He is endowed with language learning ability. Okay, language. So see, in theoretically they call it language acquisition device. Okay, language acquisition device. All the learners, all the children are endowed with language acquisition device. So they can learn. There is already language in the learner. Well, you need only provide an environment to unfold this language. To unfold this language. If your learner is born in for example, in Mumbai, suppose he is born in Mumbai and he lives in the environment of only Hindi, his language will be Hindi. Okay, so language is acquired rather than learned. So what we are trying to provide in primary classes are the language environment for the learner to naturally acquire language. Naturally acquire language. Okay, that's it. That is a basic principle about language learning. And also, language is seen as a set of discourses. Okay, it is seen as a set of discourses. Language exists only in discourses, not in individual sentences or not in isolated words. It exists in discourses. Okay, so language is seen in as a set of discourses. So the pedagogy, that means the teaching learning process, the whole teaching learning process is discourse oriented, based on discourses. We give inputs as discourses and we take outputs as discourses from the learners. the stories, the poems, and all the writings in the textbooks are different forms of discourses. And we are providing these discourses as inputs to the learners. Okay. It is only if you give inputs to the learners that you may expect output from the learners. Input should be very much needed for the learners, and they should feel that this is what quite needful for me. And for that, it is in such a way that the classroom strategies are what are designed. Okay. So, okay, these are the basic things about language learning. If we speak specifically, okay, they are discourse oriented. We are giving discourse inputs. We are expecting discourse outputs. And along with that, in the UP classes, along with that, we are also giving a focus on language elements and vocabulary, a conscious focus on the language elements. That means, broadly speaking, grammar. Grammar is a broad term. Okay. Many kinds of grammar are there. Many kinds of grammar are there. But here we are discussing language elements, basic language elements. That there is a focus on language elements also in UP classes. Okay. So these are a few basic things I would like to tell you. A lot of things are to be discussed. And if you have a teacher text with you, do you have teacher text with you? Along with the textbook, there is also a teacher text, a book for a supporting material for the teacher. Do you have that with you?
No, sir.
That is,
So,
yes. No. So that is the thing that you should depend on. If you don't have, try to get it from somewhere. Okay. Teacher text, you can get it from what recognized school teachers. Okay. So I will show you what's a few things about a teacher text later on. Okay. So these are certain basic things that we should remember before we enter the textbooks. Okay, that's all. We can't go further. We can't go about it further because we have only limited time. Okay, so let us look at the textbook. See, the practical thing you are supposed to do is to transact this textbook. And how to transact this textbook is the basic things we are going to discuss here. Okay. I think that is what you want to know about. Yes?
yes, sir.
Okay, that's what now I am trying to discuss that part. Okay. See, we are discussing two units. The first unit is Reign of Love. Okay, Reign of Love. And you remember, each unit is developed based on a theme. Okay, there will be a theme in the unit. Okay, and also there will be a few learning outcomes. Learning outcomes defined at the beginning itself, at the onset of the textbook itself. A few learning outcomes are given. And these learning outcomes are not expected to be achieved just after the first unit. These are recurring learning outcomes. Okay. The same learning outcomes may be there in the second unit as well. Okay. So so theme based, all the units are theme based. Okay. The first unit is Reign of Love. Okay. Reign of Love. Do you get any idea what is the theme of this unit? What is the theme of the unit? Any idea?
Love itself, family relation.
Family relations. Okay. Human family relation, and for that matter, human relations.
Human relation.
Okay, all sorts of human relations. Okay, relations between friends and relatives, brothers, sisters, etc. Okay, human relations. So human relation and family relations specifically are very significant as far as a learner, as little learners are concerned. Okay, and you know that in the passing of times, these family relations, the concept of family relations are changing. That you know. Very often, and even in this pandemic times, family relations are taking new dimensions. Okay, everyone are sitting at home, and it is taking new dimensions. There are new possibilities, new tie-ups, okay, new worlds the families created at home. At the same time, new challenges as well. Many new challenges are there. Many anxieties are there. Okay, all this happen in this time. So this is what a significant thing that a learner should be aware of. That is why this theme is this is taken as a theme for a unit. Okay, family relations. And also family relation, it is not only the bright side of family relations that we see. In families, there are bright sides and dark sides. Okay, there are what uh, 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 there are instances of what great love, gratitude, and there are instances of ingratitude. Many things happen in families. Okay, so you can problematize this family relations like this. Now, how will you enter the unit? How will you sensitize the learners about the theme? What will you do? How will you enter the unit? Well, you can use many techniques to enter the unit. You can generate a discussion with the learners. You can interact with the learners. For example, how many members do you have in your family? Okay, who are the most? Who are the ones you like most in the family? Like that, you can build up an interaction, or else you can see a few visuals or a video. You know that you are doing online classes these days, so that uh, as far as possible, you should be able to rely on visual materials, digital materials. Okay, to enter the unit, let me show you a video. Okay, let us watch a video and then let us discuss on it. Okay, 1 minute, 1 minute. I will share a video with you. This is a world famous short film. Okay, Sometimes some of you might have watched it. This is a world famous short film, in Greek short film. It is. The language is Greek, but subtitles are there in English. Okay. You just watch it first of all.
ഒരു നയന മോൾ വിളിച്ചു. പുള്ളിക്കാരത്തി സ്കൂളിൽ ടീച്ചറുണ്ട്, നോക്കിയിട്ട് വിളിക്കാൻ നമുക്ക് രണ്ടുപേരും നോക്കിയിട്ടൊക്കെ വിളിക്കാനൊക്കെ പറയുന്നുണ്ട്. എല്ലാവർക്കും നമ്പർ കൊടുത്തിട്ടുണ്ട്, നേരത്തെ വിളിച്ച് വാട്സാപ്പ് നമ്പർ. ഹലോ, ഗുഡ് ആഫ്റ്റർനൂൺ സർ. സാർ എന്നാണ് വിശേഷം? സാറ് തിരക്കിലായിരുന്നോ? അയ്യോ, ഇങ്ങനെ പോകുന്നു സാർ. നമ്മൾ വലിയ തട്ടുമുട്ടും ഇല്ലാതെ ഇങ്ങനെ പോകുന്നു. സാർ അവിടെ അഡ്മിഷനൊക്കെ ഓപ്പൺ ആയോ? അവിടെ എങ്ങനെയുണ്ട് ഇപ്പം സ്കൂൾ? ആണല്ലേ? ആഹാ, അവിടെ അതാണ് KG ആണ് നമുക്ക് ആവശ്യമില്ലേ മെയിനായിട്ട്. ഇപ്പം ഒടനേരം സ്കൂൾ എന്തെങ്കിലും അറിയോ? പോസിറ്റീവ് സൈഡ്സ് എന്തെങ്കിലും അറിഞ്ഞോ? എങ്ങനെയാണത്? അവർക്ക് ഇതുവരെ സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്തിട്ടില്ലല്ലേ കുട്ടികൾ? നമ്മുടെ പേര് ഈ ഓൺഗോയിങ് പ്രോജക്റ്റിലെ നമുക്ക് ഈ LP സെക്ഷനിലേക്ക് 1 to 4 എടുക്കാൻ ഒരു വോയിസ് റെസ്റ്റ് പറഞ്ഞേക്കാം. അപ്പോൾ അതുകൊണ്ട് നമുക്ക് പെട്ടെന്നൊരു ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്നില്ല. ക്ലാസ് കുഴപ്പമില്ല. നമ്മളിപ്പം ഈ നെറ്റ്വർക്കിൻ്റെ ഇഷ്യൂസ് മാത്രമാണ് ഒരു കൺസ്ട്രെയിൻ ആയിട്ട് വന്നേക്കുന്നത്. ഇപ്പം അതായത് ചില ടീച്ചർ ഇംഗ്ലീഷിനൊക്കെ നമ്മൾ എല്ലാം പുറത്തുനിന്നുള്ള ഫാക്കൽറ്റീസ് ആയിരുന്നു. അതെ അതെ, കാരണം എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ മലയാളം ടീച്ചർ ഇപ്പോൾ 2-3 ക്ലാസ് എടുത്തതെല്ലാം പുള്ളിക്കകത്തേക്ക് നെറ്റ്വർക്കിന് ഭയങ്കര ഇഷ്യൂസ് ആയിരുന്നു അവിടെ. അപ്പോൾ ഇന്ന് മാത്രം ഒന്ന് പ്രോപ്പറായിട്ട് ക്ലിയർ ആയിട്ട് കിട്ടി. അപ്പോൾ ഞങ്ങൾ തന്നെ പറഞ്ഞ് സിം കാർഡൊക്കെ മാറ്റിപ്പിച്ചു, വേറെ ഏത് നെറ്റ്വർക്ക് എടുക്കുന്നത് പറഞ്ഞാൽ അങ്ങനെ. ബാക്കി ഇംഗ്ലീഷൊക്കെ നമ്മൾ പുറത്തുനിന്നുള്ള എല്ലാവരും വൈഫൈയിൽ തന്നെയാണ് സ്ട്രീം ചെയ്യുന്നത്. അതുകൊണ്ട് നല്ല സ്മൂത്തായിട്ട് വരുന്നുണ്ട്. അതെ അതെ, അത് അവർ കുറച്ചുകൂടെ കോൺഫിഡൻ്റ് ആണ്. കാരണം റെസ്പോണ്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നുള്ളൂ. ഒരു ഇന്ററാക്റ്റീവ് സെഷൻ ആക്കാനുള്ള ഒരു കുഴപ്പമില്ല സാർ. ഓൾറെഡി നമ്മുടെ ഫാക്കൽറ്റിയോട് ലാസ്റ്റ് 10 minutes പറയുന്നുണ്ട്. അതായത് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് എന്തെങ്കിലും സജഷൻ, ആരും കൂടെ റെസ്പോണ്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നില്ല. അതെ, ബഷീർ സാറിൻ്റെ അല്ലേ? ഓക്കെ. അല്ല, അതുണ്ട് കേട്ടോ. അതൊരു വളരെ കോൺഫിഡൻ്റ് ആയിട്ട് ഇവൻ ഇപ്പം ചെയ്യാം. അപ്പോൾ അത്ര ഇതല്ലെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അവർ അറ്റ്ലീസ്റ്റ് അവർ വന്ന് സംസാരിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. അത് തന്നെ വലിയൊരു കാര്യമാണ്. മാനേജ്മെൻറ്റ് അതുപോലുള്ള സപ്പോർട്ടും കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ കൊടുക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. ആക്കിയിട്ട്, കാരണം നമുക്കൊരു നമ്മുടെ ഒരു ഫസ്റ്റ് അപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് നമ്മൾ ആദ്യം ഒരുപാട് റിസോഴ്സ് പേഴ്സണൊക്കെ പുറത്തുനിന്നുള്ള വളരെ പ്രോമിനൻ്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ആൾക്കാരെയൊക്കെയാണ് നമ്മൾ ആദ്യം സജസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. ബജറ്റിൻ്റെ ഒക്കെ ഒരു ഇഷ്യൂ വന്നപ്പോഴത്തേനും അതുകൊണ്ട് നമ്മൾ
that's all. Okay.
പ്ലാൻ ഉണ്ട് ഞങ്ങൾക്ക്. അതായത് ഇതേപോലെ സാർ ഇപ്പോൾ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ തന്നെ ടീച്ചേഴ്സിന് ട്രെയിനിങ് കൊടുക്കാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് നമ്മൾ തന്നെ ഒരു പാനൽ ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ അതിൽ കുറച്ച് നമ്മൾ ഈ ഓൾറെഡി വന്ന ഫാക്കൽറ്റീസിലൊക്കെ കുറച്ച് പേര് നമ്മൾ എന്താ പറയുക അവരെ നമ്മൾ റോപ്പിൻ ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. അവരും വില്ലിങ് ആണ്. അപ്പോൾ അതുകൊണ്ട്
Did you watch the film?
RP പാനലായിട്ട് തന്നെ നമ്മളൊരു പെർമനന്റ് ഒരു
Yes, sir.
കാരണം ഇതിൽ കുറേ
Okay. How do you feel that film?
ഒരുപാട് സമയം ഉണ്ടാവും. സ്കൂളിൽ നിന്ന് റിട്ടയർഡ് നല്ല നല്ല ടീച്ചേഴ്സ്. അപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ ഈ മാത്സ് ഒക്കെ എടുക്കുന്നത് വളരെ ഒരുപാട് നമുക്ക് നല്ല ഫീഡ്ബാക്സ് വരുന്നുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. ആ മാത്സ് ടീച്ചർ
What is your impression?
ഈവൻ തോ
Who are the characters in the film?
പക്ഷെ അത് ഒരുപാട് ഈ സിമ്പിൾ ടെക്നിക്സ് ഒക്കെ പറഞ്ഞു കൊടുക്കുന്നു ടീച്ചർ.
Father and son.
Father and son. And how did the son respond when father asked him, what is that? Was the son patient?
Harshly.
Harshly, yes.
No
Very
patience.
harshly, without any patience. He was impatient and he was not ready to consider the emotion of his father. He didn't see the mind of his father, right? And father was yearning. That is really what yearning to get a loving response from the son, and he didn't get, so that he went to his house and took with him an old diary, and asked the son to read the diary. And it's only when son read the diary that how patient was my father, how loving was my father, and to what, tell me when I asked what is that. Okay. So it shows what it raises a lot of questions. Okay. So relation between what father and son, that is somewhat what inexplicable, and that cannot be explained what overtly. That is sometimes what mysterious, like that. Okay. Anyway, this shows the deep relation of a father and son, right? Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's it. Now, what is the importance of family relations? You can have a discussion on that. See, show this to enter the unit. Show this film to the learners. Okay, first of all, then interact with the learners. Okay, develop an interaction with the learners. See, your interaction questions are also part of inputs that the learners get. Your interaction questions also are part of inputs, because your interaction generates some thinking in the learners. Okay, it is these thinkings that they express in language. Okay, they may express in faulty language, don't worry about that, but you always go on giving inputs like this by way of interaction. Interaction is not just asking questions. You can present your ideas in one or two sentences as well. Okay, brief narratives as well. All these are part of interaction, and these interactions are very crucial inputs given to the learners, and they are called teacher talk. So your teacher talk is a significant input that the learners get. So develop a teacher talk on the video, and draw the attention of the learners to the theme of this unit. Now come to the theme. Now you can show the picture that is given in the beginning of the unit. That is, there is father, mother, children, and seeing the father, a boy is running towards him happily, Okay, you may develop an interaction on this picture also. Okay, you may ask, for example, you may ask, who do you see in the picture? Who do you see in the picture? Who are waiting at the door, or just before the house? What else do you see in the around? All these are questions you may raise, or all these are interactions you can make with the learners. Okay. Now the first, in the beginning, it is given there are what are the pieces of writing in this unit? What are the pieces of writing? Two prose writings are there. One is life with grandfather. Life with grandfather, that is written by Keshavan Shankarapillai. Keshavan Shankarapillai is, do you know the author? Do you know the author?
Famous Indian cartoonist and writer.
Famous Indian cartoonist Shankar. Okay. This is the real name, Shankar. And Shankar is a famous Indian cartoonist, story writer, and all. Okay. It is a small story written by Shankar. Second one is making a mango pickle. That also is a story written by a famous, great Indian writer, Vibhuti Bhushan Bandyopadhyay, Bengali writer. You know. Next is a poem, The Little Boy and the Old Man. Okay. It is written by Sheldon Allen. These are the three input pieces of literature, children's literature. These are children's literature, input pieces of children's literature. But remember, these are not the only inputs. Your teacher talk in the class also is very, very important inputs. Okay. Learning outcomes. Now, as I told you, which are the learning outcomes the learner is expected to achieve after this unit. But remember, these learning outcomes are not completely achieved by the end of this unit. Don't insist upon what teaching consciously to achieve all these learning outcomes. Don't try to teach, for example, understand simple questions starting with what, who, why. And don't insist upon teaching these what, who, why, and WH questions and no need of any compulsion on the learners to learn these questions in this unit itself. Okay, right? Because these outcomes, learning outcomes, are recurring in other units as well. So a few learning outcomes are there. These are learning outcomes which are considered in this unit. Okay. We need not go into detail, I think. Should we? Should we go into the details of learning outcomes?
Yes.
It is stated here, understand simple questions starting with what, who, why, and answer in English during classroom interaction. Right. This is what I told you. Answer in English. The interaction should be in English and let the learners answer in English. Don't insist that the learners should answer in what complete correct sentences. They may sometimes respond in broken sentences. Encourage them to use broken words as well. Okay, then when the learner respond with broken sentences, you may megaphone it with complete sentences. Okay, you may take the sentence from the learner and completely what you make it a meaningful sentence and just megaphone it. Okay, so that the learner will get to know, oh, this is the right way to
അങ്ങനെ ഓരോരോ സെഷൻസ് ഞാൻ
respond.
തന്നെ തരാം, എനിക്കത് ആവശ്യമുണ്ട്,
Okay.
ഞാൻ നോക്കി നടക്കുകയാണ് എന്നോട്.
Don't say, that is wrong
ഞങ്ങളുടെ
or that is right,
നമ്മൾ
etc.
പാനൽ ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ പോവാണ്.
Right?
അതിന്റെ ഏകദേശം ഫൈനൽ
Try to give them evidences.
പെർമനന്റ് റിട്ടയർഡ് ടീച്ചേഴ്സിനെ
Try to give them evidences from your own what feedbacks or your own correct megaphoning of the learner's ideas. Okay, you are megaphoning the learner's ideas, but in the correct way. Okay, so these are is read and enjoy simple stories. The stories are given in the unit, and understand the essential elements of a short story. Write dialogue according to the given situations. Okay, dialogues, output discourse. All these are learning outcomes. We need not go into details because it is understandable for you. It is quite understandable for you. It is quite easy for you to understand all these learning outcomes when you read it. So you read it, you keep in mind these learning outcomes when you do the activities. Okay, let us come to the first piece of writing. And to enter as an entry activity to this piece of writing, there is a small activity, family, to fill up the family tree. Okay, to complete the family tree. This is a learner's individual work. Okay, the family of each and every learner will be different. Okay, a few questions are given there. How many members are there in the family? Who are they? Learners may fill in the family tree given in the page. Who is the learner's grandfather, grandmother, great grandmother? Sometimes the learner may not know great grandmother and all, even grandmother. Then let them go to their houses or let them ask their parents, who are they, and let them have a discussion with their parents about their grandmother, great grandmother, how was they, how did they live, okay, etc. And then now life, the first piece of writing is Life with Grandfather, a story written by cartoonist Shankar. Okay, you may first of all you may draw the attention of the learners to the writer, the author. There is a short profile given at the end of the writing. Ask the learners to read that profile. Okay, then you may interact with the learners on the profile. Okay, you may ask, okay, like this. For example, when was Shankar born? When was Keshavan Shankarapillai born? And how is he well known in India? Like that, you can develop such an interaction with the learners. Okay, now how will you process this short story in the classroom? How will you present this? Okay, what is your idea of presenting the story in the classroom? Do you have any idea? Any idea? How will you present this? Okay, let me tell you. Will you first of all, you just, will you show this picture to the learners? The picture drawn, picture in black and white. Okay, who do you see in the picture? Who do you see in the picture? Come on, please respond. Who do you see in the picture?
Grandparents, grandpa, grandma, Raja. And uncle.
And uncle, maybe uncle. Okay, right. So this is a picture. Okay, and there is a short introduction to this family there. Okay, you may introduce this family to the learners. This is Raja's family. Okay, and you may interact with the learners with these interaction questions. You can add more questions of your own. Then you may ask the learners to guess what could be the subject of the story. What could be the theme of the story? Let them guess. Okay. After that, let us see. You may see. You tell the learners, let us see, and you first of all ask the learners to read the first 3 paragraphs. Okay. First 3 paragraphs silently. Okay. You know that you are doing online classes these days. The learners are sitting at home, and ask the learners to read it silently. Okay. The 3 paragraphs. Then you may interact with the learners. A few questions are given in the margin. Okay. Interact with the learners. And let them respond to your interactions. See, don't think that it is not a question answer session. Let them respond. അതൊരു റെസ്പോൺസ് ആണ് നമ്മൾ പ്രതീക്ഷിക്കുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ let them respond, and if they are not responding, somebody is not responding, you can call the name. You can see the participants in a list of participants on your screen, and take the list and call them out and ask them, okay, Rina, okay, what do you see? Okay, like that. Then you will understand whether the learners have read the lesson at that time. You are not seeing the learners. You are not seeing the learners because they are sitting at home. So when you ask these questions, it is easy for you to understand whether they are reading or not. Okay. So this is one thing that you can do. So let them read this individually first. And if it is in the classroom, let the learners get into small groups and share what idea they got from these 3 paragraphs with other learners, if it is in the classroom. But if it is online, there is no possibility of that. After individual reading, you may have to end the process there. Okay. After individual reading, you may interact with the learners, and then after interacting with the learners, you may read this part loud. You may read these 3 paragraphs aloud, and that too with proper tone variation, with the correct pauses, pronunciation, gestures, and facial expression, optimum expressions, and all. Okay, read those 3 paragraphs, and then supplement with the ideas the learners have missed in their reading. The learners have missed in their reading. And you need not go for sentence by sentence explanations. Okay, you need not go for sentence by sentence explanation, and never try a translation. There is no need of translating each and every sentence into mother tongue. Okay. Try only to present the total idea of each paragraph. Even when we read something, for example, when we read something, do we remember what all the sentences? Suppose you read a newspaper report. Do you remember all the sentences in that news report? You
No.
never remember all the sentences. You remember only the what?
Main idea.
Main idea.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Even when you read a story or a novel, do you remember all the sentences in a novel? No. You remember the novel in totality. Okay, the main events. You remember the characters, of course, and you remember what the events, and you remember that in a totality. So the learner also is expected to have the same thing, the totality, not sentence by sentence understanding. Okay, so when they read, and another thing that you should remember, when they read, individually read these 3 paragraphs, let them refer the glossary given at the end of this unit. Encourage them to refer to the glossary. There is a glossary given along with each unit. Let them refer the glossary. Okay? Let them refer the glossary. And if they need to know the meaning of any other words, because you know that each and every learner may need to know the meaning of different words. One learner needs the meaning of one word. Another learner wants to know the meaning of that word. Okay, so learners' needs are different. So that let them refer to dictionary as well. Okay, whenever they need. So encourage the learners to use dictionary and also glossary while they read. So this is the process that you are expected to adopt in the in reading. Okay, it is not the content of the story, it is not the content of the paragraphs you are expected to transact, but it is the processing of reading. Remember, today is International Readers Day. Okay, reading day. We are discussing about reading. What do you mean by reading? Reading is not just understanding the content, or it is not just understanding sentence by sentence, but reading is a process through which we get some totality, a few ideas in totality. And it is this totality that make a lot of changes in our thinking. Okay, see, the message of reading day is that reading is somewhat very significant to what purify yourself, better yourself, better your horizons of thinking. All these are what achieved only through reading. So, well, I am again emphasizing the point that here what you should your focus is reading as a process. Then you have, of course, you have a doubt. You must have a doubt. That is, how can all the learners read this part of this story in the same way? Some learners can read, some learners are even they can't even read at all. Do you face such problems in the classroom? Some learners are not even able to read, and some learners read very easily. Do you have such problems? Do you face such problems in the classroom?
Yes, sir.
Yes, of course. So it is for that after individual reading, let them be in groups. but at home there are no groups. Okay, at home the only support is their parents. Let the parents also be with them, or let the parents also support them for reading. That is the only way right now we can do. Okay, and after that, when you read aloud, the learners get some evidences how they can read aloud, how they can read a few words, how they can read this sentence or that sentence, right? So, okay, it is in the same way that the whole story is to be processed. Divide the story into into meaningful paragraphs, in meaningful sets of paragraphs, and ask the learners to read individually. Okay, and after the learners read individually, and after you read the passage aloud, you may again interact with the learners to guess the next part of the story. Okay, you can make an interaction with the learners to guess the next part of the story. Okay, then next part also let them read individually like this, and you may interact with the learners with your interaction questions, and then you may make your loud reading and then supplement with your ideas, with the missing ideas. Not all the sentences, but missing ideas. So same process you can follow up to the end of the story. Okay. See, I think that we can't go on with the session anymore because you have other session in the afternoon as well. Yes. I think you have afternoon session as also, right? At 2 o'clock. Am I right?
No, sir.
Yes. So that
I don't have.
can I take 5 more minutes?
Yes, sir, you'll continue.
Okay, right. Well, so it is in the same way that the story is to be processed in the class. After that, there are a section. Let us revisit. Okay, there are a few activities after the story which prompts the learners to revisit the story or reread the story or read the story once again or a part of the story once again and respond. That is what let's revisit the story. A few questions are there. To answer these questions, the learners are to revisit the story. So ask the learners to respond to these questions. Each and every activities you can present to the learners properly. Okay, the learners are to understand the context of the universe. Context of the activity. Okay, present the context of the activities well, and then the learners may do the activities on their own. So, because each and every activity is different. Okay, present the context very well, and then the learners may do the activities on their own. Okay, so that is what many different activities are there. Some of the activities are to be performed in the class. For example, there are activities. There is one activity for a skit. Okay, to present a skit, the learners should develop a script for it. Okay, and that cannot be done online. There is a limitation in that you cannot process a script in online, because scripts for skits are developed in a collaborative way. That means it is in a group that a script of the skit can be developed properly. Okay, so certain limitations are there in the online classes. Anyway, as I told you, present the context of each and every activities. There are some discourse activities, language element activities, and vocabulary activities as well. Okay, and language elements, that means grammar, is presented in context. Okay, it is need-based grammar items. It is not in a graded way that all the grammar elements are presented to the learners. It is in a need-based way that the grammar elements are presented. Okay, so I think we will present today. We shall stop here. We have only discussed only the first piece of writing, the story. But anyway, we will just discuss it further tomorrow. When we discuss tomorrow, we will discuss the process in much more detail. Okay, because we are for want of time, I have to go in a hurry for want of time. It is almost in a hurry that we are running out. Okay, now. Okay. Okay. Do you want to ask me anything? Okay. Do you want me to tell anything more? Okay, I am trying to discuss how to process a unit in the classroom. Is that the real thing that do you want? Okay, this is what I will focus tomorrow. We will focus on that. Okay, we have only started the first unit, and tomorrow we will focus only on how to process a story or a poem in the classroom. Okay, how will you present an item? Is that exactly you want? I hope yes. Yes. Okay. The first one, we have roughly discussed how to present the first story, and we will discuss it in much more detail tomorrow when we go through the other stories tomorrow. Is that enough? I think that will be enough.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tomorrow we will discuss in more details about the process. Okay. Right?
Okay,
So
sir.
that shall we, for the time being, shall we wind up?
Yeah.
Okay then. Thank you. We shall.
Thank you,
We
sir.
will meet again.
Thank you.
Tomorrow we will meet again. Okay, with more details. Okay.
Thank you,
Bye.
sir, for your valuable time. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Well.